Hello and welcome to my 2025 market recap and 2026 outlook. This time of year, I like to step back and look at what actually happened in our local real estate market. Not the headlines, not what we hear about in Toronto or Vancouver, but right here in Central Alberta. Because understanding what really moved the market in 2025 helps you make smarter decisions in 2026, whether you're selling, buying, or just planning ahead. If I had to describe 2025 in one word, it would be balanced, but not easy. Across Red Deer, Sylvan Lake, Lacombe, Black Falls, and Penhold, homes continued to sell even with higher interest rates and higher everyday costs. What changed wasn't people's desire to move, it was how carefully they made decisions. It was a market that rewarded preparation and punished guesswork. Here are the three things that actually moved the market. Interest rates changed behavior, not demand. Higher interest rates didn't stop buyers, they made them more thoughtful. For the buyers, they took more time and negotiated more confidently. They were also more thoughtful. Buyers were looking for value. As pricing went up, buyers expected more bang for their buck when it came to the condition of homes. For the sellers, it meant buyers were paying attention and pricing needed to make sense. Inventory grew, but unevenly. In 2025, buyers had more choice, but not everywhere. Most of Red Deer, Sylvan Lake, Lacombe, and Black Falls sat in balanced conditions, while communities like Penhold leaned more towards sellers' market because of limited inventory. So for the consumers, this meant the experience could look very different depending on where you were buying and selling and in what price point. There was no one-size-fits-all market anymore. Local details mattered. Pricing mattered more than ever, and I think that was the biggest lesson of 2025. Homes that were priced properly from the start sold faster, had smoother negotiations, and kept more of their value. Homes that started too high sat longer, needed price reductions, and often sold for less in the end. So for the sellers, that meant testing the market became expensive if you were in a higher price point. For the buyers, it meant patience and preparation paid off. So for the sellers, 2025 was less about timing the market and more about understanding it. Well-prepared, well-priced homes still sold, sometimes very well, but overpricing early often cost sellers time, leverage, and money. The takeaway is thinking about selling is simple. Strategy mattered more than optimism. So what that meant for the buyers? For the buyers in 2025, it quietly became one of the more balanced opportunities we've seen in years. There was more choice, more room to negotiate, and less pressure to rush. The buyers who did the best weren't necessarily the fastest. They were the ones who had a plan, knew their numbers, and understood their local market. So what this tells us about 2026? Well, looking ahead, I'm not seeing signs of a dramatic shift. What I do expect is continued balance in most Central Alberta markets, ongoing differences between communities, and buyers staying cautious but active. Sellers are going to still see strong results when pricing and preparation are aligned. I'm not expecting a surge and I'm not expecting a crash. I'm expecting a market where informed decisions continue to matter most. So what I'd watch for as a consumer? Well, if you're thinking about selling in 2026, I'd watch how long similar homes are taking to sell, how buyers are responding to price changes, and inventory levels in your specific area. If you're thinking about buying, I'd watch where homes are sitting longer, where price reductions are happening, and which communities are quietly shifting into a buyer's favor. The biggest takeaway from 2025 is this. Real estate in Central Alberta is still moving and will continue to, but success is no longer automatic. Clear information, local insight, and a solid plan make all the difference. So if you're thinking about selling, buying, or just want to understand what this market means for you, I'm always happy to talk it through. I have a ton of free resources on my website about the market, selling, buying, acreages, and I'm happy to share all of those. Take care, chat soon.